Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to Napoleon Total War, as of course the British, where we have been sieging down Palma, which is the last bastion of the Kingdom of Spain, of course, after we took complete control over the Iberian Peninsula. So that is something we're going to need to think about today, because we weren't quite able to demolish that in one battle there. In fact, taking a few losses ourselves, shrinking down the two standing armies that the Spanish had of provincial militia. So very sad sight to see that still going and kicking about. However, I think what we're going to do today is leave Parma alone, and we're going to start thinking about focusing on the French threat. We're going to take advantage of not only Austria pushing towards the northern Italy regions, but also Prussia moving down into the Netherlands and such. So we're going to perform a southern pincer over here and try and get into Bordeaux and Toulouse down here, maybe even to Marseille as well, because that would be an excellent money-making region with its marketplace in Montpellier and the Avignon vineyards over here, which would be excellent. We do, of course, need to push through and recapture Barcelona, because the enemy did take that previously with a very sneaky force down here. But that shouldn't be particularly difficult. We're going to have to get there next turn, because we can't make that at the moment. You can see our movement range runs out over here, which is rather unlucky, but that does give us some time to replenish some Swiss Grenadiers down here. And that'll be some excellent more bonus to our experience on our troops there as well. So what we're actually going to do with the Palma based army is bring them home. Unfortunately, that's very interesting. We're not going to be able to bring them home in this turn, because Nelson is misplaced over here and he won't be able to reach there this turn. So what might happen is that we get counterattacked over the end turn with both of these armies as they try and breach out over here, as was the case in the previous turn. And we might actually have to fight that battle whether we want to or not. That is very interesting indeed, actually. I wonder if it would make much difference if we came down over here and tried not to threaten that so much. Either way, we're not going to be able to retreat if they do force engagement, no matter where we stand. So we'll try and be a little more passive against that and see what they do once again there. Hopefully they'll stay and try and replenish in the town. That being said, I wonder what would happen if we went for a peace treaty with Spain and try and knock them out of the war. Either way, we'll go for a trade agreement as well. We might actually ask them to break their alliances with the French Empire and the Batavian Republic especially. Let's try and do that. Maybe even offer them some technology such as reduced upkeep on their naval units and such like that, and improved coppering over here as well, as a little deal sweetener there. And actually, yes. Okay, brilliant. They have signed that, which is excellent. We have a tactical retreat from Michael Stoll, which is a little bit of a cheat there. Let's see where he ended up. If we bring up our list, he is actually just over here. That's excellent. So he's back on mainland Spain, replenishing very nicely there indeed. And that will mean within a couple of turns he'll be able to come up and garrison Pamplona and look at Bordeaux. Bordeaux in itself would be an excellent region because of this supply depot to actually have as a forward base to pull back and replenish our troops and such as and when needed, which is great stuff to see there. So with that being said, I think that is going to be the end of this turn as we look over our technologies, getting two technologies, top gallants and joint stock companies within 2 turns, which is excellent for us. Let's get going, shall we? Okay, so over the end turn we have some construction. We have our first drill school in England, which is excellent, and we have some recruitments there as well. And actually, the Kingdom of Spain has stayed faithful to the peace treaty so far. I was somewhat expecting them to just come back in the war with France and such, but I think because they're no longer allied with France, they decided not to join that war once again, which is excellent. So, what are we going to do with Nelson now that he is more readily available? We could try and scout out Ajaccio over here. Not much over there actually, but it's not really the greatest money making province. You can see it's making 310 per turn, so it's not really worth trying to go for that at all at the moment, which is a shame. Let's try and scout out Marseille. Nothing there. Excellent. Let's get some coastal scouting over here. Brilliant. Nothing there. Alrighty, so Let's see what we have over here. We have some more trade ships coming towards this T. That's excellent. Our income has bolstered straight from 4,000 over to 7,300, and that's with that trade agreement with Spain boosting that as well, which is excellent. Our new drill school is up, allowing some new British Marines, some more British Dutch light dragoons. Later on, we'll be able to get some good modern rifles as well, and that's excellent. Really, really good units. Of course, there we have the one unit of heavy cavalry, the Earl of Uxbridge, which is very interesting indeed. It's a 2-turn recruiting there. What about the British Marines? What sorts of abilities do they have? They have inspiring nearby units and the standard stuff. They can hide and scrub as well, which is very decent actually. So the accuracy is 45 and the reload skill 33. How does that stand up with our British Grenadiers, shall we? Actually far, far better. That is excellent. Okay. I think then we might as well get a couple units of those. We're allowed 4 more units. Let's go for a unit of heavy dragoons, I think, to pull some weight in melee engagements. And we'll go for, of course, 3 units of these very limited Royal Marines, which we are only limited to 3, but that's absolutely fine. We can work with that. Should we start upgrading our great arsenal so that we're allowed to get greater cannons later on? I think we should, because that's quite the investment of 8 turns over there, and I would really like to get some mortars going as well. Be great there. So what we're going to do is we're going to split our navy, get this corvette. In fact, we'll take the 64 gunner, the Razee and the brig over here, as well as this William Cornwallis Admiral, and try and split them. Excellent. We'll bring them over to Chatham. Take the militia out of there. Embark very soon. We'll take these. And of course we will want to remember to bring our new recruits over there. We'll start bringing this navy over to Denmark, because this is the goal of these 2 particular armies over here, is to take Denmark. And that's excellent there. So we do have some preparation for that. And let's go and see if we can march onto Barcelona. Let's take a scouting trip there. And it looks like Napoleon himself has taken over this army. That's not a problem. And he has reinforced that a tad. So, I think we do still want to take this fight though, because as good as opportunities, we're going to get to take on Napoleon once again before more reinforcements come in. The only small problem we have is the lack of men in the Swiss Grenadiers over here. They're going to have to be a reserve unit we keep in the flank, aren't they? But that shouldn't be too much of a bother. Let's move straight in. And it is indeed Napoleon. In fact, he's backing up Jean-Victor Moreau over here, which is excellent. So we get 2 generals with 1 stone in this particular fight, and they're fairly cavalry and artillery heavy once again, so that does take away from the Fusiliers, which is excellent. They do have the French-Irish Legion as well, so that's going to be very nasty with that 25 morale over there. It's going to be a hard nut to crack once again, but I'm sure we can smack hard enough and beat them down. Righty, so we're deployed in for this battle, of course deploying second, and unluckily it is, of course, raining. Typical bloody battlefield weather there. We are breaking up our formations a little bit with some mild pincer movements in mind. We're going to have to deploy our cannons on our extreme left flank over here to get on top of this minor ridge, so we do have some sort of sight onto the enemy formation. These woods will be blocking our sight there, and of course the enemy could take cover in the town over here, which is rather unlucky. Hopefully they try and spread away from that, because that will mean our cannons will be nullified over there. With our right flank, we're going to take a couple units of light infantry, hide into the tree cover over here, backed up by a single unit of Fusiliers and a couple units of cavalry to protect the flank over here. Our core line over here is made up of some Highlanders, regiment of foot, and some Royal Fusiliers as well. And we're going to try and extend that core over here with a very similar makeup, just a little further towards our right flank. Where do these Swiss line go? They're protecting our left flank over here next to our cannons. I need some strong, sturdy units to protect those. We do, of course, have the rest of our cavalry over here. Going to try and push up with the rest of our lights over into, if we're feeling very aggressive, over to this area over here, just to try and force the enemy into an engagement and into our cannons and such on that particular flank. So let's get moving and try and get in range to see how the enemy sets up, shall we? Well, the enemy is insistent on using their cannon advantage over here, as they well should be. So we're going to have to push up probably straight through this tree line, which will give us a small advantage with the cover bonus there, but of course does have the downside of charging down their cannons straight in the face there. So we're going to be relying on our strong flanking pushes. We're going to push up our cannons just a little further, just over here, maybe a tad further. Just look at the line of sight there, so that we do get on top of this ridge. So we'll get there. And that should bring us in range with some good line of sight over onto the enemy there. We are under a small amount of fire with Wellesley taking a couple losses himself. We're going to have to push him up soon though. Pull him back a tad there. Got our reserve unit just plugging this gap very limply, of course. We do have some oncoming troops over here. The French-Irish Legion protecting the enemy's flank over here. Very interesting indeed. So we're going to try and tempt the enemy with our cavalry, I think, into this little ambush we have here set up in the trees. Send one unit of light cavalry, because it does have that speed, over to the flank there to threaten. And we'll try and just make sure we're set up correctly on our left flank here. Unlimber our cannons. And try and push up to this tree line with our skirmishers and protect with our cavalry once again. That should bring them in over to our Swiss infantry and standard foot over here. Probably going to want to push up a little more with our line infantry here. Get into the tree cover there. Like so. Push up just a little more to make that a little more concentric there. Excellent. Push in over here so that we don't have to run so far to help out. And we're trying to charge down the French-Irish Legion. Are our cannons firing out? They certainly are. They have some good range, getting right into this massive clump of cavalry over here, which is excellent. Massive threat is that cavalry, and a little bit of counter battery as well, though not quite removing any cannons just yet. We need to keep an eye on this cavalry charge though, as it comes in here. Are the enemy squaring up to that? They're trying to run away. That's absolutely fine. Means we'll be charging onto a somewhat loose formation there. Excellent stuff. We're not getting the sound effects as we'd have hoped. And that's a bit of a bother. They seem to be in and out. Not to worry. We do have a small charge over here. We killed a fair amount of men, but they are going to reinforce with their own cavalry, which is time to retreat there and pull them into our firing line. They have some chevaux légers, some lancers over here. So a good charge on them, but they can't win a sustained melee engagement, which is where our heavy cavalry over here come in to help out. How are we doing with our counter battery over here? We're getting some hits. Of course, we won't be getting any major morale shocks like we saw against the Spanish militia previously. We're actually only just in range, which is very interesting to see. We'll keep target on this horse artillery over here and just see if we can get some extra fire on to the moving regiments over there. Are the enemy chasing us over here? A little. We'll try and just make sure we're behind over here. Turn round a little there. Just make sure we're backing up properly. So we might actually have to push in harder than we'd like to here. Not a problem. Just do that very slowly. Let's try and use the trees to our advantage there. So that does give us that advantage at least, but we'll be right in the way of the cannons over here, so we'll step back a little. It's a shame that we can't use the light infantry in the woodslands over here as an ambush. We're tired already, which is rather interesting. We've not been running them, they have only been walking. Very interesting there indeed. Not to worry, we're going to have to come all around the back here though. Okay, and in a bit to be greedy, we have tried to engage the enemy a bit further on with our light foot over here. We are still moving into position to reinforce on this side, so we might just get a very meaty cavalry charge onto the side of this French garrison over here. Do not be mistaken, even though it's his garrison, it's his French garrison and very well trained indeed. They're also rather tired. interesting, but we can't win a sustained engagement with our light infantry there, unfortunately, with them. So we'll keep them occupied. Just come back a little. We'll have to double time that. See if we can pull the enemy into our firing line of our own. Being very, very stubborn is the French army over here. We even tried to push in like this with our light infantry and such, hoping their lancers would come straight in towards us, and might have to tempt that out a little bit more with our cavalry over here. Let's bring in a little closer as well to back that up a little more solidly. But that does mean we're a little bit unsteady here. We have to make some rather thick lines there, which we do not like particularly. Enemy is now hiding in the woodland over here, so we're not going to approach that too quickly. How's the counter battery going? We have removed one gun over there. At least we removed two in total. That's something. But we're going to have to start firing on their infantry over here. Their conscripts, I think, especially because of the large number they do get there. They're lining up to fire on us over here, are they? No, they're deciding to run away. I think what we do is we push into range with our Lightfoot. Double time that. Are we tired over here? No, we're not. Are we? Are we the one unit? That's rather interesting. Push into range there. Take on the lancers with our heavy cavalry over here. If we speed up to actually charge in, would be great. Hopefully that doesn't make contact with our troops over here, and then we can fire into their backs. Come on. There you go, lovely stuff. No idea why we're not getting that sound effect there. Have double check for that. But that will absolutely destroy the enemy cavalry over there. We are taking minor losses. We lost 5 men, but not to worry. Look at them crumble there. We're going to just pull back. No need to engage too heavily there. Have a look on this. We are taking some cannon fire, unfortunately. Okay, so the enemy does want to commit to this melee engagement. Not to worry, they're routing now. We'll just make sure they do in fact shatter. Push into the French-Irish Legion before they form up and get firing on us themselves. Don't want to engage the French in a very standard open duel though. If we just walk into this firing line, we are going to lose. So we're going to pull back once again. Seem to be getting some of the sound effects now. That's excellent. There's something. Okay, so what do we have over here coming in? 24 of these lancers coming back. That's rather a shame. It may cause us some trouble. If we take cover over here from the enemy fire, we're going to start firing over here. We're not quite in range. We're in range now. Start firing on the cavalry. That is excellent. Let's force a charge here, maybe. No, they are absolutely shattered. That is excellent. 1 unit of cavalry is down. Enemy formation is not great, so we're going to try and push up here. Once again, try and stick to the trees where possible, and perform a line over here to circle them in and rush into that tree cover once again. Push in with our light infantry, take the cover over here, and we'll just stay here to support with our line infantry. Keep this unit as a reserve, I think. And we might just tempt out the units hiding in the woodland here. If we just move in like that, and we'll double check in a second. Got some chevron on this artillery over here. That's never good for us. Have to move in with our general though, of course. We'll hide in here in the woodland. We'll start to get in range now, so we are going to double time this. We'll double time this flank as well. Where did our cavalry, our light cavalry go over here? Let's bring these up. Distract with our heavy cavalry over here, I think. Looks like the enemy isn't hiding so much in this woodland anymore, but they are moving in with some fusiliers over here. And they are under cannon attack themselves. Very tired is their central line here, and they should be taking some sort of friendly fire. You'd have thought. Both general staff in one blob over here. Just try and tempt that out, shall we? So how are we doing on this flank? We are going to start firing. Here we go, onto the enemy's back here, which is excellent. They're very tired, confused, and in fact misdirected here. Should be coming into our light infantry fire as well. If we can push that up a little bit, that'd be excellent. That would be absolutely brilliant. What we can do is move a unit of normal line infantry over to the enemy flank. Move 2 there. Don't need all of them in one area there. And that is 1 unit of general staff trying to charge us, apparently. He's got a bad habit of doing that to the AI armies, but not to worry. Hammering them with artillery as well, which is excellent. Getting a bit more response today. Let's try and get this big clump forming on this flank over here, shall we? Because I think we're pretty much okay firing as the enemy moves over here. Reloading so far. Looks like we're about ready to fire. Getting the support from our light infantry there, which is excellent. Onto the French conscripts. Might be seeing a melee charge over here as the enemy general does decide to come back in. Don't need to square up. This is only minor there. So we're going to be firing onto the flanks of the enemies as they decide to charge in here. The massive, writhing French army there. So what we're going to do is form up, emergency form up over here. Might even want to come in with our cavalry for a minor distracting charge. Come with our heavy cavalry to the back over here. Maybe even snipe Napoleon with this unit as well. But we do of course need to watch out for the masses of French line infantry there. Let's try and tempt them out then with more light infantry, shall we? Really push in there and bring them back into our own line there. Are struggling with morale a little. Let's bring over our general. We are going to need some help here. Enemy general is deciding to rout. We are breaking their own morale a little there. We have a distracting charge there from the cavalry. We will have to bring that out very quickly though. Let's do that and cycle charge the enemy. We have killed 1 general. That will be Moreau. Let's check that. That certainly is. Excellent. 1 down. Only Napoleon to go. How is this counter battery going over here? Not too great. Let's fire onto the Swiss Grenadiers and try and get something there. We should be getting some fire. Now let's halt our movement. Get some fire out there. And try and bring in our cavalry to the extreme flank. How are we doing? General should be about. Excellent. Let's bring him truly into his influence range. What we can do is probably inspire this unit over here, I think. Let's do that properly. It is a different click. And that will help them fire into the backs over here a little bit better. Do have some grenadiers. Are they firing us our cavalry? They certainly are trying. Misplaced over here. Okay, big cavalry flank coming in over here is excellent. We're getting some good fire out onto these Fusiliers. Killed over 100 of them very, very swiftly there. Excellent to see. Can barely see our own men behind the walls of smoke there. Keeping a lot of accidental reserve though, which is not good. We're going to keep a thick line here to support. Looks like we're not quite in range with this unit, so we're going to push up to support. Okay, we need to double time this because we're hurting our own formations there. Charge into the Swiss Grenadiers. Come round the flank here, and there's a lot of cavalry to source out with the Chasseurs Cheval and French Hussars, which are some nasty cavalry in and of themselves. Very fine with our cannons. We are getting into the Swiss Grenadiers with our cannons. If we can start closing up this flank as quickly as possible, that would be great. How are we doing over here? Lost a lot of men with this unit, unfortunately. We're going to fire out here. Yeah, we're reloading. Okay. How about over here? We started charge, needs to get into range then. If we pull out over here, what we can do is try and snipe Napoleon. He's also winded actually.
Our men are running, sir.
Units of melee infantry over here is running, which is rather a shame. They were very badly outnumbered there, but they've done a lot of damage themselves. What we can do is try and reinforce that. They have got a minor square here with the French-Irish Legion. Look at that, very brave, stalwart men. Might have to cancel that charge actually. If we go into the Swiss Grenadiers here. reform our line a little better. Okay, there's a little bit of a mess going on here. A little bit of a mess. How's the line of sight there? Okay, I think we're getting a little outmanned here. It's a little outmanned. What do we have over here? The Fusiliers. Are they routing? It would appear so. Let's try and charge them down, although there is the threat of the enemy cavalry there. It's one I'm willing to take. Let's try and keep charging down Napoleon, please. We can beat him. There's our cavalry over here gone. There's this group which is engaged in melee and forcing the enemy to retreat there, stopping their fire. Let's move our charge over here to the French garrison, shall we? Thank you. And that should be that flank crumbling if we can force those to retreat permanently. How are we doing with this charge over here? We're moving into the cannons. So we have to watch that, and of course the enemy cavalry. We do have the superiority, I think, there, so we're going to keep firing onto the Swiss Grenadiers. We have killed Napoleon, so we just need to push into the cannons to stop that fire, and then we can move into the flanks of the Swiss Grenadiers. That would be excellent, massive, massive rout from the French army centre here, but that will be coming back, I'm sure. We just need to keep pushing with this massive core of cavalry over here to make sure the enemy cannons have stopped firing. We should be breaking this unit over here very soon of Fusiliers. Okay, now the French cavalry is starting to come back, so we're going to pull out of there before it's a little too late and get onto the flanks of the Swiss Grenadiers, who are thinking of crumbling there, watching their morale. And look at that charge, that's absolutely brilliant. You love to see it, you love to see it. So very, very messy, messy battle. I think we're just about pulling through now. We've cleared up this flank. We're going to start charging down enemies over here. We need to make sure this unit of cavalry is freed up. We need to turn around over here to engage. How are we doing on ammo? We've run out of ammo, so let's just pull out over here because they're not being used anymore. Rather ashamed to run out of ammo there. We need to link up, encourage our own men. Take the shrubberies over here. Bring out our cavalry because they are threatened. Let's reinforce our cavalry over here, shall we? Come into the fire of our own men to help them out. Glorious victory really is soon to be ours. Let's move over here. We're messing this up. Just get out of range completely here because we only have 55 men there. Are slowly moving up, but we are now tired and exhausted across the board. Yeah, that's our cavalry over here running because we left them in engaged too long. Let's try and move out over here because the chasseurs cheval are not helping us whatsoever. Engage over here to allow our men to retreat. Do have the numerical advantage over these hussars. Just keep them occupied as we run out. And I think push in with our line infantry here. If we can push in massive, massive line here, that'll threaten the enemy cavalry quite nicely. We've done over here. Let's charge into the flanks of the French garrison units. I'd love to see a little more help over here. What are we doing over here? We're reloading. Just about ready to fire on to the French-Irish Legion, which has taken a battering, but the morale still holds strong. What are we doing with Wellesley? We need to get him into a good position, I think. We'll move him here. Battering the French garrison over here. Excellent. Still got some counter battery going. They have a couple cannons still surviving there. Looks like we can't escape this cavalry engagement, so we're going to bring in our heavy cavalry to support. We are routing off some more French garrison over here with our limited dragoons. We're going to have to spend a lot of time replenishing after this battle. We need to make sure we wipe out as many French men as possible so this doesn't drag over onto a second battle once again. Completely routed this unit. Let's move in over here while the enemy does rout off and shatter them completely. Get onto the chasseurs cheval. Where are our own cavalrymen over here? They're engaged, not a problem. Looks like we're winning. In fact, can't actually see. They just about, not quite routing there. Just about used all our ammunition over here, which is a shame. We'll pull those out permanently to make sure they're not bothered. What are we doing with our lines over here? I think we need to push in just a little more. Get our cavalry onto the enemy artillery here. And that should be about done. Should be a good done deal there. And no sooner had we said that was a done deal that we got the message that that was in fact a heroic victory. And it certainly was. 4,700 of our own men up against 4,300 of Napoleon's men. We lost 863 and they lost all of their men, which is excellent to see. So, have defeated Napoleon once again. We are going to reoccupy Barcelona. I have no interest in turning that into a puppet state. We have gained the trait, grasp of the shovel, one command when besieging, which is excellent, because we are going to be doing a lot of sieges as we push into southern France. So that is going to take a good few turns to replenish once again, so I'm very, very happy with that result. And that's pushed our income up once again, which is excellent to see. Very, very nice, sturdy income, if you ask me. But that is unfortunately all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a long, hard battle there to see. But it's good to be back for this week. We will be continuing with the standard schedule as the week moves on. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.